Come on, guys, you can start. Overall, I wish Quarry was very slightly more closed. I think it's just a little too difficult to wall. I mean, I get erring on the side of making it too open as opposed to too closed, but I think it's like just a little too open. To prove that Chompy are broken? No, I've been out of town. But yeah, Chompies are overpowered for sure. I would not be surprised if they get nerfed very soon. Regime change operations? I mean, I leave, regime change happens, I come back. It's a little suspect, I will admit. Everything broken except Chompy, what? Ah. With one possible exception, and that one possible exception is Fodler. Alright, so story time. I went to DC to go to a job fair at my university. Because, you know, Ornlu's trying to get a job. Now, I got a pretty good deal through Expedia, so it was like $450 for both plane tickets and 2 nights at a very nice hotel. So that's pretty good, but of course there's all like my, you know, food and expenses and like metro ticket expenses and all that stuff. And, you know, so I'm investing a fair bit into this. I go there, you know, everything's like all fine. I go in the morning, it's like 11 to 4 or something like that. I get my resume all printed out on nice resume paper. I've got my suit on and all that. Got my nice little file folder thing to hold the resumes and anything that they gave me. And I go there, and it is a joke. Like, it's like baby's first resume, or baby's first job fair. And, like, this is what my university has to offer, right? I spent a lot of money and went into a lot of debt to go to a very prestigious and well-connected university, especially in my field. There was, like, no heavy hitters in DC there. Like, there was no Deloitte, there was no Brookings, there was no, like, you know, Senate offices looking for recruiting. And it was like all these dinky little startups or, you know, just sort of like low prestige, low power level stuff, like new consulting firms instead of like established ones. And like they're mostly even looking for either like summer interns or tech or like engineering people. It's like only one person even like wanted my resume. And then it's just like, you know, I was like the only alumni there. It said for students and alumni, so I figured, you know, there'd be some sort of split between students and alumni. No, I think I was the only alumni there with like 200 students. And it's like, okay, the EU was there, so I'm like, okay, that's great. They're like looking for a summer internship kind of thing that, you know, it's like I'm not too proud to do an internship if it gets me in, but it needs to like pay well enough for me to live in DC. And they said, yeah, we can do up to $700 a month. And it's like, I can't live on $700 a month. And then the Embassy of France was there. That's another international affairs thing. Like, obviously my focus is in Asia, but I took French in high school. I could get a job there. Yeah, we're looking for English teachers in France for the summer. Moved to a small town in Slovenia. But it's like, I'm there, and I spent a ton of time prepping my resume and redoing that and everything looking all nice, and I think I'm a good candidate. It's weird because like, at home, I feel like, okay, I'm just like some random guy who sits in my room and talks about video games, but I prepared like my intro speech and all of my like points on my resume that I can expand upon and talk about. Hey, here are all these very real and transferable skills that I've done. And, oh, thank you, Xanderlab. That's actually my goal, is because I really haven't used LinkedIn all that much, is to work on making that less bad. So thank you, Xanderlab. I'll take a look at that later. But it really felt like, okay, nobody at GW has like connections to all of these like high prestige, high power like law firms, consulting firms, government agencies, and it's like I'm getting all the leavings. And I felt like, you know, everyone there was like, "Oh, I don't know what to do with my degree." And it's like people don't know what they're doing, and it's like, "Okay, I'm like the only adult there." Really goes to show the difference between like somebody who's 21, 22 and somebody who's almost 29 like me. That actually has like, you know, good 8 years of full-time job experience. Also, we had to wait 3 minutes for them to not start the game. That was fun. But like, yeah, it really feels like, okay, the connections they say are really just either you get it because of your own connections, because a lot of people at GW are rich and well connected, or like you're supposed to like get an internship while you're there, which could then lead you to like get actual connections. But like in terms of what the university actually has to offer, they way oversold it, which is really aggravating. Fall, yeah, it's tough out there. I am far from alone in having these struggles. Well, nice. But I'm not an English teacher. I mean, I could do English teaching, but I'm trying to like take that next step in my career. Because I'm in this weird spot where like I don't have experience like in like the bigwig enterprises and whatnot, but I do have a good 8 years of actual work experience. I'm not somebody who's fresh out of college with no I lost my train of thought from reading chat. Yeah, Viper's had a lot of wrist issues. I don't know about others, but yeah, it's a very real thing. You have to take care of yourself. That are basically left over by academia. Yeah. It was just a very frustrating experience. And then Ornlu tried to get a date. That was an epic fail. I tried both Tinder and bar hopping, man. Apparently, I'm just that undesirable. And I was in a nice hotel in a fun part of town, man. Get nowhere. No one even messaged me on Tinder or matched with me on Tinder. And I went to 3 bars. And, like, nobody else was there by themselves. Come to Grindr. All right, come on. Okay, 2-minute spec delay this time instead of 3 minutes. Hotel bars? I went to the hotel bar, but, like, everybody there was in their, like, 40s and 50s. In DC, that's true. I'm sure Grindr's real busy in DC. The grind? Yeah, just go. So... No, there was a convention there. I think it was like the American Aviators Lobby or something like that. Or Union, I'm not too sure what they were, but some aviation organization was there. But yeah, no, like all these bars, it was like everybody was there with friends or as a couple. Like, I felt really lonely, man. And this is after my incredibly disappointing job fair, so Ornlu's, like, self-esteem and ego was like... I ate some good food, though. And I had a really nice hotel, so, I mean, it wasn't a total bust. But I dumped almost $1,000 into this whole experience. Unions? Believe it or not, there are. Any thruples there? Not that I saw. I'm not sure if I'm into that. But I'm gonna try and apply for, like, jobs with the Senate. Like staffers. Because it turns out there's a big difference between staffer jobs and staffer internships. And, like, the staffer jobs can make, like, $80,000 to $100,000 a year, which is, like, fine for me to start out. I cannot type to save my life, guys. Oh, no. Ice? Yeah, no, we're not that desperate yet. All right, we are good to go. Here we are, guys. It is going to be a best of 7. This is for getting into Gold League. Combito with a very strong performance in Silver League here. Like, definitely an up-and-coming Mexican player. I didn't think he'd be doing as well as he did. He went 4-1 with 11 wins. That is the most amount of wins for anybody who didn't immediately qualify into Gold League. That's pretty crazy. Only falling behind Say My Name, because Say My Name won the head-to-head and had the better overall record at 5-0 versus 4-1. So that's very impressive. Antagonist, solid performance, went 3-2, 8-7, so slightly more wins than losses. He was also, in my opinion, in a tougher group than Combito, so I think this could be a very good set. So, we will have to see. Combito is going to be here in the red as the Shu to the northwest, and to the southeast in the blue as the Vietnamese. It will be Antagonist. All right, so I do feel like, especially post-nerf, you are, like, fine. You're certainly not a bad civ, but I feel like Vietnamese are just kind of better. I don't really know what Shu do better than Vietnamese. Their 1TC play might be a little bit better, but I don't think it's that significant. They have the faster mangonels, which is really helpful in, like, mangonel wars, but that is already pretty tricky on this map because you're going uphill. So, like, you can't really use it to push as effectively. Unless you can like find a way to start pushing from the side, that's certainly a good option. And a way to leverage the more aggressive inclination of the shoe. But we will have to see. We will wholly see with the Vatican. Guys, I just realized it's quarry. They have the stone pile in the middle, but it's gold in the middle and not stone. There's no stone in the quarry. What kind of quarry is this? Actually, random tangent. Speaking of quarries, apparently I live and drive over one of the largest quarries in the entire world. Like, there's a quarry in it's south of Chicago. It is one of the largest open quarries in the entire world. And the 294, which is like the highway around the city, goes right over it. No, it's huge. Like, you literally drive over it, and it's like a huge quarry. But I didn't know it was like one of the largest in the world. Drive to DC? 12 hours. It's actually almost exactly 12 hours. So it's a drive that you do if I'm moving stuff, which we've certainly done in the past. And if I move back there, I'll, get like a U-Haul or something and drive back out. But if I'm just like going for the weekend, I could drive, but it would be awful. And like I said, I get a pretty good deal. Like I said, $450 for both of my flights and my hotel. Not bad. I mean, with gas money and whatnot, that's probably only like 30 to 40% more expensive than driving there. And way, way shorter. And also significantly less Ohio involved. Shoe shorter. It was shoe shorter. Or something. Oh, Combito's going up without Loom. A little greedy. And there are the militia coming in. No Drush from either player is pretty surprising, because we usually see a lot of the pre-mill Drush stuff these days. But looks like Combito's not going to really be punished for it, he said, as the scout's going for the kill. Oh, he's going to go for it. Nope. Taking us. I do plan on continuing to stream, for sure. I don't know how much like capacity I'll be able to stream very often, but I don't have any intention of abandoning you guys completely. But it might just be like a weekends thing. Or maybe I could do it during the week if I like work from home a couple days or something like that, but again, we'll have to see. Need to get the job first before I can start planning how I'm going to interact with the streaming. Alright, Feudal Age is in, Loom is immediately on its way, and there's the archery range. Now, it's not going to be for a fast castle, it's still too quick of an uptime for that, but just 21 pop, no Loom, it's a little old. On the weekdays and holidays? I don't know. We'll have to find someone else. Oh, is he gonna go for it? He's the 4 Vils into the TC. Oh, he's up. Men-at-Arm takes a fair bit of damage, but that is certainly a mistake. Blue Scout is going to go down there, but the archery range is being denied right now. And look at this. Uh-oh. Spaghetti Mr. Yo. We already have the archer on the way for Antagonist, and Combito going to try and queue up some skirmishers. This is ugly, man. Now, these quick balls are certainly very doable for Combito, but now he's just got a bunch of stuff in his face that he really didn't want to have to deal with. That said, he did close up that gap, so the reinforcing archers aren't really going to be able to meet up with the men-at-arms very effectively. Both players are getting the horse collar upgrade as well, before the first farm is seeded for Combito and before the 4th farm is seeded for Antagonist. I guess it doesn't matter that much anymore, though. Yeah, I mean, you're already getting to almost the 250 food anyway. And so, the Men-at-Arms causing some inefficiency, but fundamentally not doing any enormous damage. Nothing irrevocable. Man, I missed AoE too. I was watching a little bit of TTL on my phone, but I was pretty busy. Pretty busy, pretty depressed, or pretty drunk. One of those three. Actually, I could have been all three of those at once. Who knows? Combito. Men-at-Arms is kind of wandering around right now. Res collected still very similar. It's going to be a little bit better here for Shu early on. Vietnamese are saving resources, though, on their upgrades, and I'd like to see Antagonist pick up Wheelbarrow. Honestly, can pick it up right now. Maybe wait another villager or two, but definitely something you want to pick up before clicking up to Castle Age. Yeah, he's actually queuing up right when I said he should. Gonna be good for your eco. Also, Antagonist, due to the Men-at-Arm opening, is on gold, whereas Combito has not gone over to that resources, just playing defensive skirmishers. It's actually kind of an older meta, right? This is how you'd play AoE 2 on this map like a year to 2 years ago. Now the drushing and Men-at-Arm rushing is very much back in vogue. Is Belgium censored? It should be. It's the worst swear word in the universe. I can't believe I just said it. Disgusting. Anyway, Combito's looking ready to click up pretty soon. He did invest into a couple of outposts. Oh, at least one. I don't know where he spent the other 5 stone. The S word. Oh, TOS, thanks for the raid, man. Hope you're doing well. I just got back yesterday. So, I've missed the last few days of TTL, but I am looking forward to casting the playoffs here. No, Combito is up to Castle Age a little bit faster. And so far, the game has been relatively peaceful. Idle time almost non-existent for Antagonist. Still fairly low for Combito, especially since he was the one under pressure. And Combito's getting that little bit of an age advantage. Now the question's really going to be, what do you want to do with it? When you just have some skirmishers here, it's not like Antagonist invested into a whole heck of a lot, so both players could really take this game in any number of directions. Like, one or both of them could go aggressive, one or both of them could boom. Really, any tech switch is available to you at this point. You're not really forced into going for any one thing. You have a stable coming in for Combito. I feel like Shu always go for Haegwang Cav. It's so weird. Anyway. With this one villager long-distance mining stone, I have to imagine that he's going to want to go for extra TCs. There's a market for Antagonist. And he is up slower. I mean, Combito's macro is really good in terms of his villager efficiency. I mean, yes, he also has the resource bonus for the Shu, but good play here for sure. Archer's just scouting around, living life. Elephant Rush, it is very technically sur la table. And yeah, look at this, guys. TCs immediately. But do you want to take this game in a passive direction as Shu versus Vietnamese? Like, what do Shu do against Imp Skirts? I guess the White Feather Guards. I don't know, Vietnamese just strike me as having a way better late game. Monastery coming in as well here for Combito. I mean, he hit Castle Age with 35-ish villagers. And look at this. Antagonist is going to go 4 TCs. This is wild. Both are going to go extremely passive. It's like the opposite of what we see in the higher leagues. 1 banana, 2 banana. Getting that 3rd banana. There we are. And you're also going to have the very good eco upgrades. Handcart coming in really fast as well. I really am asking how Combito can shoo away the Vietnamese. He will have the relic advantage, since there is one relic in the middle, and then... Or no, there are 3 relics in the middle, and then 1 on each side. That's it. That's certainly going to be good for the shoe player. Oh my goodness, epic combat here. The bananas are absolutely getting out of hand. Gold League playout, interesting. Because most of what I've been casting on this map has been pre-milled rush into heavy, heavy aggression and making sure your opponent can't wall up. But I do think it's very difficult to push on this map in late game because you're going uphill most of the time, unless you're able to push from the sides. And yet, like, how are you going to do that as Shu, man? I mean, Shu do have siege rams, and their traction trebs can, get siege engineers and move faster, which is nifty. But they're still, like, without real trebs, I'm just not too sold on the pushing ability. High eco-aggression in Castle Booming results of Ethiopians and Poles, too. That's an interesting matchup that we don't see very often. Sounds like a fun game. Oh, yep. It's going to be 4-1 relics. And that's certainly going to be a nice advantage for Combito. Although the villager count, it's catching up for Antagonist. Res collected still a little bit better for Combito, though. Again, Shu eco is quite nice. Yeah, but Vietnamese are a civ that don't really need that much gold to be effective, and it's still a tough map to push. I wonder what this character means. I assume it's a Chinese character, but I have no idea. To lose to be balanced? Well, Fire Lancers did just get nerfed, which helps. But I think Vietnamese probably could lose Husbandry. It means King. But the King isn't in this archery range, it's just a skirmisher. Yeah, I mean, that's like the meta these days. Japanese numbers? Yeah, like same. But I have no idea. King of the battlefield, that's true. But yeah, going up on like 70-ish villagers, 70 to 80. Very much all the rage with the kids these days. It does limit your ability. Or I guess it limits your flexibility, I guess I should say. You just don't have many viable unit choices with this exact number of villagers. Why is March the worst month of the year? At least March is getting warmer. I think January is the worst month of the year. Cold, the holidays are over. I mean, February isn't great either. Heals, yeah. No more emotes. Yeah, I mean, Antagonist is a little bit slower. November can be really bad, and it's certainly not a great month, but these days it feels like it's a bit warmer. Your birthday? Well, okay, it's great for Diff Tom. Alright, so we have scale mail armor coming in here for Shu. Anyway, I do feel like Vietnamese either need to lose some of their economic power or some of their flexibility. I feel like Vietnamese are just the best archer civ. Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving's great, man. Okay, double traction treb production. Certainly the direction I would take this is Combito. But you're still going to be in a situation where it's like, what's your army? Oh yeah, this is true. The 2x3, very solid building pattern. Like, if Combito's just trying to try and go fast imp and skirms, I will be very disappointed in him. But he's getting infantry upgrades, but, like, I have no idea what infantry he wants to go for. Hello, Jan Chess. Diff Tom. Thanks, Diff Tom. Well, Vietnamese just got a gajillion buffs over the years, and now they're just, like, one of the best civs in the game. Alright, triple traction treb production is obviously very good. It's not the easiest thing in the world to deal with, but Vietnamese are one of, if not the best early Imperial Age civs, with the cheap ranged army, with the conscription for free. They don't stop? Oh, isn't that delightful? Imp Skirm coming in. Okay, so we do have the White Feather Guards. I do think this isn't a bad idea for Mr. Combito here. Res collected still very much even. I mean, they have a lot of health. White Feather Guards are a good tanky unit. And yet, this doesn't really feel like the route to victory. You have the 3 traction trebs, but traction trebs are still really expensive. I feel like people kind of get this false sense of, oh man, traction trebs are like the cheap but weak trebs, but like, they're half as good as regular trebs, and they're like 90% as expensive. It really doesn't feel like a big win. Now, they are very good at punching enemy units down, but in the role of a trebuchet, which is kind of what you really want at this point, it's nowhere near as good. That said, Antagonist isn't really spending any resources, so I'm kind of confused. He's not going to go Fire Lancers, is he? That wouldn't really make any sense. That's a bold castle. Or maybe he just does go Fire Lancers. Aren't the White Feather Guards... Don't they have shock infantry, anti-shock infantry damage? Yeah, they have 4 anti-shock infantry damage. Huh? Yeah, this is why I was a bit concerned about the castle placement. No bombard cannons, which is also something I thought he'd be prioritizing. Pikeman switch incoming. Oh, that's a bit of a splat. Yeah, kind of misreading the switch here. But, like, the White Feather Guards are anti-cav units anyway, so I don't know why you would need to prioritize this switch. If anything, just keep the siege going. But like I said, it's tough to push on this map as any civ, and when you're one of the worst civs at pushing in the first place, it really doesn't help. Of course, I would like to see some bills here with which to repair. But yeah, I mean, I guess I've not really seen the White Feather Guard versus Vietnamese Fire Lancer matchup before, but you'd think that the White Feather Guards would be doing quite well. Now we have Coiled Serpent Array coming in. Now remember, Elite Fire Lancers weren't really changed much. They are a bit more expensive, but they're still just about as good. Okay, well, seems like White Feather Guard's not doing quite well enough here. Probably just because the Fire Lancers are easier to produce. Yeah, White Feather Guards are very cheap on the gold cost, but gold isn't the issue right now for Combito, it's food, because he's making both White Feather Guards and Skirmishers. Yeah, no bombards at all. And the traction treb numbers are slowly climbing. This is what I wanted to see Combito prioritize, and definitely glad he's not making any more pikemen. Okay, now Rattan Archers are going to come in, and they're going to be a much better unit against the White Feather Guards. I mean, White Feather Guards are very good. Right now, Traction Treb's doing work. Again, still kind of surprised about the lack. Okay, now he's making Bombard Cannons. Thought this would be more of a priority. Alright, Siege Engineers, Masonry coming in, all that stuff is certainly quite good. But we're already off to a very interesting game number one. Like, very big, boomy late game. Conscription just now on its way. But I think this is interesting from Antagonist, right? Just scooch back with the trebuchets, take down the production buildings. Get those guaranteed wins. Oh my god, we have Liu Beg incoming. Guys, I think Combito might be dead. His macro's been better than Antagonist. So look, Antagonist has 75 mils on wood. What the heck? And then he doesn't even have paper money. Yeah, the eco is way better for Combito. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but you actually have all the castle upgrades. They get the full 7,028 HP castles. Oh, there's paper money. It's actually stuck behind this trebuchet because Antagonist is pop-capped. Yeah, just taking the wins where he can get them. Not a bad idea. Alright. Rattans aren't elite, by the way. I mean, you only have 14 bills on food as Antagonist. It's just not the best eco balance. Siege Engineers just now coming in. It's already in here for Combito. You have to be real careful, though. As both players. Oh, my goodness. Both Bombards go down. Right now, Combito's army is just way better. I mean, right now, I think you have the perfect idea of an army composition as Combito here. Where's the hero? Oh, he's right here. Yeah, this is just completely one-sided, guys. Paper money just now coming in. And there are two aspects in this game which I think Combito had a huge lead. One was the macro, in that I just think Combito just did a better job managing his economy, and sometimes it is that simple. And two, I think he had a really good idea of, okay, I want to get to White Feather Guards plus Traction Trebs, which is perfect versus Vietnamese. That is your best army composition. At least it's the most difficult for Vietnamese to deal with. That said, if Vietnamese get to like Rattan Archer plus Meat Shield plus Bombard Cannon and regular Trebs, then it becomes very, very tricky. But that's not really what Antagonist has been doing, and I think he's just really overestimating how good the White Feather Guards are versus... underestimating how good the Fire Lancers are versus the White Feather Guards. And it's still really tough to push this shoe. Yeah, they have, I mean, 4 bonus damage ain't nothing. Now, they have very low base attack, remember, so it's, what, 13 damage versus 12 damage? But the White Feather Guards are very cheap on the gold cost. Look at this, 87 on wood! What the heck? Guys, what is this eco balance from Antagonist? It's just not good, man. Like, look at this. 6,000 less food, 4,000 less gold. Loses a Bombard Cannon there. I mean, Combito's playing for the long game. Way better. Paper money? He didn't have paper money until recently. Oh my goodness. Well, the castle does fall, but 2 of the trebs have also fallen. Not the deer! I saw that. Don't think I didn't see it. Alright, now blue can secure some more gold. But it's gonna just be tough to sustain the Fire Lance production. Now we're actually gonna switch into swordsmen. Now, Shu have champions. They don't have Gambesons. Yeah, I mean, no iron casting is a bit rough. I'm a little surprised you're making that switch, because I don't... How much better are champions than White Feather Guards against the Fire Lancers? Well, I mean, like, it's kind of okay right now because Antagonist just isn't spending much food on anything. But I kind of like the idea of having some elite rattan archers in the back line, just to give you that good long-term DPS over time. Another castle being attempted here. Just trying to secure that. Okay, I don't think that castle was destroyed. Oh, they do? So they do. The more you learn. Yeah, so you're just missing the attack upgrades, which in this particular case doesn't matter all that much. Yeah, in terms of overall resources destroyed, it is heavily advantageous towards Combito. I just think that his game plan has been better, his execution has been better. I think his Civ is actually a little bit worse, but if you're playing this much better and have the clearer picture of what you need to do to win the game, you know, just basic AoE 2 understanding win conditions, then there you go. Battle Elephant, like, legit, you get to Battle Elephant plus Rattan Archer, you beat almost everything in the game. Anyway, obviously that's going to be a very one-sided fight, and I just don't think that Antagonist had the best plan there. And Combito takes game number 1. Very interesting game. 77% worker efficiency is very good. And just running Fire Lancers into White Feather Guards, worse macro, not a fan. So well won there for Combito. Takes game number 1. Billion heavy scorps, some sort of siege onager centric army, like Mameluke plus siege onager. Yeah, that is Shu over Vietnamese, so low pick versus high pick as well. %, yeah, that's crazy. The Corgi is on his back behind me. Without a care in the world. Tough it is. I don't think the webcam can reach that angle. You can try. Look at this loaf here. It's so difficult being a dog. I just don't think we all appreciate how tough it is. All right. I'm gonna get some more coffee. Oh, wow. That wasn't what I wanted. more coffee. Sometimes a corgi just wants to lie in the doorway. A good Berbers campaign? Let me tell you about Tariq ibn Ziyad. Alright, so Antagonist going right to his #1 home map of Zimbabwe. Koreans, Bohemians, both going to be very good here. Bengalis are going to be good. Spanish are going to be good. Armenians, Vikings, and Khmer would be a little surprising, but you have a lot of good options here as Antagonist. For Combito, I imagine you're going to play Italians and Japanese and Dravidians on maps with more water, which is actually all of Combito's maps. This feels like Burgundians or Portuguese. Maybe Hindustanis, maybe Britons, but probably Burgundians or Portuguese for Combito. Also, I literally didn't even know Seychelles was in the map pool. It's like never played. Seriously, like when have we seen Seychelles, man? I mean, I've seen a lot of, but not all of TTL. And we rarely see Seychelles. Selling Seychelles by the seashore. Alrighty. Alrighty. Mexican flag is miscolored. No, it's not. Green, white, yeah, red. Yeah, it's just all the flags are simplified that have like logos and or seals and insignias and stuff. Just that's the flags I have, which works when the flags are themselves very small. Yeah, it makes sense. Anyway, guys, Antagonist gonna be here in the blue as the Bohemians to the northwest of Zimbabwe. And to the southeast in the red as the Hindustanis. It will be Combito. Hera's team game start? What's that? Green is to olive? Oh, I didn't... Wait a minute. Why'd it get rid of their flags? Weird. Northwest of Zimbabwe, so I guess close to Zambia. Team game show matches? Ah. with against teams Onimaru 1 through 5. Man, AoE really struggles to attract outside sponsors. Because Onimaru is just, you know, a wealthy fan of the game, right, who sponsors the team. Three, 4-man Onimaru teams. Oh my god. It feels like we actually aren't moving at all from GL, right? It's just which wealthy sponsor of the month wants to support an AoE team, which is how AoE has worked since it was Tyrant and SY. And I mean, Vitality's is an esports org, right? Yeah, Tato's not an Onimaru. I'm not too sure what Tato's up to. I don't think he's super active. Did follow Jordan this time around? Yeah. Get more esports attention? Yeah, I'm sure that... I mean, double 80 viewers, 160 viewers? Oh my goodness. That's like what I was averaging, you know, a year ago. But, like, if Viper can't attract a bigger sponsor, then only Hera... Like, only Hera is going to be a bigger player streamer than Viper. So if Viper isn't able to do that, then, like, I don't even know what that says about all of us. Oh, jeez, rip. Well, what a game, guys. What a game. Antagonist takes game number 2. Yeah, that was rough. You literally lost 2 vills. What a game. But that's what makes AoE fun, right? All this early trying to long-distance lure in rhinos so get lamed. Well, at the very least, it was the last pick for Combito, so maybe he just wasn't feeling the map. Basically everyone? Yeah. I mean, the esports bubble burst really hard with COVID. It was an ad break? Yeah, basically. Oh, whoops. I did that backwards. No. Combito has 1 point. Antagonist has 1 point. There we go. But yeah, we're kind of in the influencer era, right? Where esports leagues and organizations can't make money, but individual streams are very low cost to run and can make a very good profit. So that's kind of like the whole influencer economy, right? Yeah, esports basically... I guess gamers are a really unprofitable advertising demographic. For very little production cost. Yeah, but I think it's like the business idea behind it is that you can get a very good return and be very successful if you just attach yourselves to these influencers, and it just has almost no overhead cost. With Kim and Chachocha as his ally. It's going to be in all the background footage for my review. Why you rage? Yeah. But the viewership numbers just aren't there. I mean, what? Big esports events get like a few 100,000 viewers, whereas like, you know, big sporting events get tens of millions of viewers and all the stadiums that they're selling out with your name attached. I mean, again, like, that's the influencer economy, right? Just all about attaching your name to someone who's popular. But I think LCS only supports itself because Riot invests heavily into it. Geisha Warriors are bad? Yeah, I think they're pretty bad. I always wanted to make something else when I was playing as the Muisca. Is that they were there before? Yeah, but like they were already so popular for just people playing them as kids, casually with, you know, their friends and whatnot. Well, I mean, sometimes you want Temple Guards, sometimes you want Chompies. Kind of depends on the situation. And then add in Siege Onagers when you want to feel wild. All right, Seychelles. Everything? I mean, like, you can still make whatever. Into advertising through esports? Exactly. But, like, it's heavily subsidized, is the whole point. That's what they tried doing with Overwatch League, and that was a complete disaster. To buy all the DLCs? I have no idea. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Anyway, Antagonist is going to be here in the blue as the Vikings to the southwest and Combito in the red as the Japanese to the northeast. Classic Civ matchup with the brand new toys here on Seychelles. But I think, honestly, Microsoft was ahead of the curve with that with AoE too. Like, they learned very early on it's way easier to just give money to streamers. And again, that's basically the, you know, the influencer model. And then use the streamers as advertisement. You grow the viewership that way without having to invest into any overhead cost. So honestly, from that perspective, it makes Microsoft look smart, which is not something I say all that often, but I guess credit where it's due. They just came back stronger? Yep. Substantially more than that? Yeah, but it was a huge money sink, right? Like, they got sponsorships and everything, but it was just such a waste. Because the viewership never materialized, because, in my opinion, Overwatch was and is just not a very great spectator game. It's pretty fun to play, but it's just the two teams slam into each other, and then one of them dies. There's nothing, like, protracted about it. Alright. It's a spectator sport? Counter-Strike? But Counter-Strike's all about, like, these one-on-one skirmishes, right? Also, I believe you can carry really hard in Counter-Strike, right? And you can't do that in Overwatch. It's very difficult to, like, full-blown carry in Overwatch because just it's a very team-oriented game. Anyway, guys, they're both docking forward, so we're going to be seeing some Sparks aggressive here early on. Will it be the clink, 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 clink? Or will it be galleys? Or fire galleys? Or a combination thereof? But yeah, also, League of Legends and MOBAs in general actually make for really good esports because the games are both gradual. You can have, like, star players carry it, and that's like, really important for, like, marketability. And it's not too busy, right? It's the top-down perspective. And you only have the, 10 players? It's also super repetitive. They just played on the one map, right? Yeah, that's the issue, for sure. Which is why I couldn't get into it, because when I tried playing League of Legends, there was already over 100 heroes in it, or champions, obviously. Alright, going on gold there. Try and skip the mining camp with the oysters. Well, if anything, this is backwards, right? Wouldn't Japanese be more fine adding the 50 wood mining camp, and then Vikings would try and skip that? But what do I know? For great analysis? It's hard to say. Build team out? I don't know anything about League of Legends. Alright, Feudal Age is in faster for Combito, getting some nice early hits here. There's a third dock coming in for Antagonist. It will be Hulk time. Are you ready for the Clinkers? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Wouldn't you think galleys here would be good? Isn't there enough room for the galleys to sail around? Dark Age mini Gilnet and Army Free Relic and Free Monastery on main island. Wait, you get a free monastery? What? Well, why would you get a free monastery on pilgrims? That's absolutely broken. Oh my goodness, it's Hulkin time. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, there is a demo. That's a okay hit. Now, Combito does have more villagers overall. He's got one more villager due to the idle time of Antagonist, who's also having to get Town Watch right now. And there's one more fishing ship, and it's a Japanese fishing ship on top of that. Barracks now coming in. Not working here. Well, I think one of the fundamental issues with water is that it's always correct to go for the same unit. Yeah, I mean, that sounds broken. Not top naval sibs? No. Vikings are a lot more versatile now because they have fire ships and hulks, but that's really about it. Oh, that's a good demo hit. Docks are really good against hulks. Funnily enough, pros want to nerf docks. Which I think is pretty funny. It's like, what, you just want more hulks running around and snowballing? And Antagonist just has more ships. It's that nice discount as the Vikings. Another demo coming out. People are still learning the new changes, for sure. And the dock's helping out a ton with the arrows. I mean, look at this, guys. Really one-sided. I mean, I guess you're causing idle time, which is good, but Combito's still a little ahead in res. You got an archery range and a blacksmith coming in, but Combito's getting pretty close to Castle Age, and he's got a skirmisher. I'm wrong about balance quite often. Yep. I mean, nobody has a great track record on balance because this game is so freaking complicated. All right, now galleys are coming in here for Antagonist, interestingly. Require murder holes? Yes. But that doesn't really matter. Yeah, the hulks have to, like, hug the dock if they want to not take arrow damage from them. Anyway, Castle Edge now coming in here for Combito. No stone even having to be sold, just a good early opening from him. And this is the thing with Vikings on water maps, is that it's really beautiful design, honestly, from Ensemble, because the free wheelbarrow and handcart is mostly a farming bonus. It's a way to keep them, make Vikings even very strong on open land maps, because their eco is so good. But it doesn't really help them much at all on water maps, because although the efficiency for wheelbarrow and handcart is nice, it's not a top-tier eco bonus, not even close to it on a water map. Like, that is some really freaking elegant design right there. Hello, Forcom. Anyway, now you're just going to go ahead and try and snipe the demos, and now we actually have different sorts of ships on the field, which is going to be exciting. From what I've seen so far, the water meta rework does feel relatively successful in the later stages of the game. Then that's where it feels like there's a lot more viability. And now we have fire galleys coming in to counter the galley galleys. But right now, it's going to be this Castle Age timing that's going to be pretty rough. Demo blown up there. Campaign water? I mean, it's just all the water rework, like whenever you interact with water. Right, a second range coming in here from Antagonist, but I don't think Combito is going to take any damage anytime soon. Medium warships is coming in. Forging is in as well. It's going to help the hulks, of course. All right, Lodge des Chateaux on the way for Antagonist. He's got a defensive watchtower incoming, but I don't know, guys. Yeah, I'm not too sure why they have the flaming arrows. Oh my goodness, guys, it's the Castle Age advantage. Capital ship? What the heck is a capital ship? Does anybody have any idea what a capital ship is? I thought we were doing away with all the different ship bonuses and whatnot. Now we have fire ships again, we have long-range warships, and capital ships? Well, turns out Castle Age is better than Feudal Age. Yeah, but like, what has that armor class? Like turtle ships and Therosadai and Lochwans, maybe? Yeah, I know, but I meant in the context of AoE 2. Alright, longboats are on the way, but, I mean, at this point, you've just lost so much as our blue player. He's also behind in resources. These archers aren't doing a whole heck of a lot. messy water bonuses? Yep. But hey, at least naval ships, at least ships are worse against archers, right? That's a big improvement. All right, second TC coming in for each player, but guys, this is just all Combito right now. This is not even close. It's so strange seeing the ships get wrecked by arrows like that. Well, you can at least buy yourself a lot of time right here, and right now, Combito's units are having to trundle on backwards. Land ships. Bit less add-on. Yeah, that's true. Sight wagons, yeah, kinda. Camels, of course, camels. Even getting iron casting. Any fighting on the outside yet? We have a dock over here. Oh, perhaps a little bit out of position, but deleting the house, the skirmishers are coming forward, and everything is going to be all fine and dandy here for Antagonist. All right, Combito. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What? That was weird. A sail? Well, then we need to just get the dune barges from Jabba the Hutt, right? Easy peasy. Well, Antagonist is making a play right here to get back onto water. He's adding in a third TC, although Combito already has one, and Combito still is way ahead. 14 fishing ships, guys. That is not an insignificant number. And this middle's even getting fished out here pretty soon. Yeah, longboats are very good, for sure. They have no bonus damage versus buildings? What? Wait, oh, I guess longboats are now awful versus buildings. I mean, I haven't had the time to really dig into all the different ship interactions. So I guess that's one way the galleons are better, is because galleons still get bonus damage against buildings. I mean, a good fight there for Antagonist, but he still has a long ways to come back in this game. He's actually going to go up to 4 TCs at the moment. But yeah, they fire 3 projectiles. Wait, what? Oh, okay, there's 2 of them firing. Yeah, they deal 4 damage because they fire 4 projectiles. Which does make them actually much less relevant. Or like masonry and architecture much less relevant, right? Because you're just dealing 1 damage anyway. It's either canceled? Interesting. Well, it's pretty obvious the next expansion's going to be Scandinavia, so maybe they're going to add capital ships there. I personally find all the clues very compelling. And I think it's honestly going to be pretty simple. Make Vikings into Norse, and then add Swedes and Danes. Up. Acquire capital rating. Now that is some sound logic I cannot argue against. Next, well, to be fair, they, FE themselves teased it, or World's Edge. It's hard to keep track of who exactly does what with the advertising. Oh, here comes the castle. Yeah, I mean, the extra flag being the Raven of Odin feels very on the nose. But my concern, and this was always my concern with adding in Swedes and Danes and turning Vikings into Norse, is like, how would you differentiate them? Like, wouldn't they all be basically infantry and naval civilizations? Like, I understand that it was pretty early on that there was a difference. There were differences between the Danes, Swedes, and Norse, but... Oh, longships would almost certainly become a regional ship. Actually, hold on. Do they still have the unique unit armor class for now? Yes, they do. Okay. Anyway, this game feels exceptionally over. A siege civ? I guess so. Well, that's very nice, Mr. Yes. Like, I just don't really know how you make the civs different. Would they get different voice lines? I mean, what is ancient Norse, Swedish, Danish? Were they mutually intelligible? I mean, maybe you can, like, make the Danes more heavily armored stuff and make the Swedes more about, like, economy and hunting and all that. Mutually intelligible? But it's like, then why are we making them extra civs in the first place? Settlement bonuses, more armor, Swedes, more trade. Yeah, like, that's kind of what I would think. But, like, people have been asking for, like, oh, we need to have the different Norse, kingdoms. Danes should be more drunk. Man, guys, this game has been very poor, I must confess. Into kingdoms? I mean, yeah, that's like the thing. It feels like they were all the Norse, or the, would they have been more appropriately called the Norse or Northmen? Yes. But considering Vikings is the much more recognizable term for people, then, like, it's all the same or very similar civilizations. Wait. Did he actually accidentally attack a house or something? Because the castle took no damage and I heard something like it destroyed. Trade eco? Yeah, again, like, that's what I would think of. But they should all have good navies. But, like, I don't know, like, wouldn't their armies all be very similar? Like, it's certainly possible. And that would make sense for, like, a capital ship. Alright, you got 9 samurai, plus 4 defense also incoming, but it's going to be tough to snipe those trebs, to be honest. And elite samurai also coming in. At this point, it looks like, you know, both players are going to lose all their castles. It immediately capsizes. That's AoE 3 time frame, unfortunately. I mean, the engagement is happening right before Elite Samurai, which is... Oh, he canceled it at the last second. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, it makes sense. He's about to be on 0 castles. And, I mean, to his credit, guys, Antagonist is not dead. Oh, conscription's probably not going to come in. Okay, this is kind of weird, actually. Because Combito's eco balance is really well set up for making Samurai, except he has no castles. As a champion replacement, but like, do we need to make Byzantine stronger in late game? I feel like that's a lot of the issue with a lot of the, like, the flavor additions. Like giving Byzantines either legionaries or Varangians. Because I really don't believe we need to make Byzantines a better late game civ. I firmly believe that to be the truth. Alright. Wait, he's getting cav archer upgrades and swordsman upgrades? I'm so confused! I'm so confused! And let me tell you, I'm a guy who's very easily confused. What civ do you like the most from the new DLC? I like all of them. I really do. I don't know. They're all really different from each other. Also get it. Yeah, so like what would Byzantines be bad at? Byzantines need to be bad at something. Norse? Yeah, that could certainly be a thing. Are bad at melee damage? What, with Varangians or legionaries replacing swordsmen and cataphracts? I don't think they'd be bad at melee damage. Okay, this is really bizarre. I have no idea why Combito's trying to go for both cav archers and swordsmen. Get banned in every tournament? Yeah, I think Byzantines are just fine. Just fine. I mean, Combito spent a ton of resources at this point. Knights? Well, there aren't that many heavy cavalry unique units. I mean, like, I guess cataphracts are a heavy cavalry unique unit, but they fill a fundamentally different role than the knight line, so you can't get rid of them there. I mean, in theory, you could just get rid of knights to have boyars instead, but that feels like a terrible nerf to Slavs who really don't need it. Bulgarians as well feel like they like having knights. Have that flexibility. I mean, guys, this is interesting. Like, I feel like in the first game, it was like perfect decision-making from Combito and Imperial Age. This just feels like everything has gone horribly wrong. Yeah, I mean, I know people really like Byzantines and they like Byzantine history, so like that's why people want to do all these changes to Byzantines, but like Byzantines work as a civ just fine. They don't really need anything. How good are the Tupi on Arabia? Top tier. Right now. Post Chompy nerf that is almost certainly coming, I would guess, sometime this week, hopefully. Byzantine camels are great. What are you talking about? It totally fits in with the theme of the Civ of defending and making counter units. And considering that the Byzantines controlled a lot of the Near East and North Africa, certainly checks out. All right, champion coming at 45 wall. Let's go, baby. Okay, guys, this game's getting really weird. Like, Combito had an overwhelming advantage, and he just made a lot of mistakes in early Imperial Age. But yeah, post Chompy nerf, I feel like Tupi are going to be solid, like good, but not like S tier. They'll probably be around as good as Mayans and Incas. A little bit better than Aztecs, a little bit better than Mapuche, and a fair bit better than Huisca. Like 800? Well, I mean, you gotta pick and choose, right? How would I nerf the Chompy? I think a slower movement speed for the Dark Age version, but increased line of sight. And I think you give them 1 less attack, but you give them 1 bonus damage against cavalry and 1 more bonus damage versus shock infantry, so they trade evenly. It would be really weird because, or not really weird, it'd be a bit weird because you'd have a Civ, or you'd have a unit that would have like bonus versus cavalry that would lose it upon getting an upgrade, but so long as you're still doing equal or more damage anyway, I don't think it's an issue. I already had a video on it back with the Thalassocracy Cup. Maybe I'll have the time to make another one. But yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of stuff planned. It's a bug, Matium. That's been confirmed to be a bug. They still haven't. Yeah, I already ranted about the job fair. Oh my goodness, I'm getting so annoyed just thinking about it. And so depressed. Anyway, Peak Age of Empires is happening with Skirm v. Skirm. There's Shipwright coming in. What a bizarre game. Really. Well, the champions are about to be fully upgraded, Japanese champions, which are obviously very good. I mean, they have 8 Pierce armor. That's a lot. And remember that logboats are always at least semi-okay. But yeah, right now the issue is you have 4 champions. Katapuruto. Yeah, it was not fun. Guys, oh my goodness, I just realized. What's going to happen is in the next DLC, when Vikings get renamed to Norse, then they won't be the last Civ alphabetically anymore. Oh wait, they're already not the last Civ. Oh, because we have freaking Wei and Wu. Oh man, it's just all over. Job fair. The frustrating thing was that this was supposed to be what my university was good at, was networking. And it was so awful, and then I also invested almost $1,000 into going there. I mean, I think we'd probably get an African DLC afterwards. But it's been a while since we've been to Europe, so I'm not that unhappy. Like, it's fine. It's not confirmed, but it's, like, extremely likely for a Norse DLC. I mean, I at least find the evidence extremely straightforward and compelling. Basically, in the announcement, they have all the different regional flags that were added to the game, and there's one more flag that exists than architecture sets, and that flag has the Raven of Odin on it. Like, I mean, that seems very straightforward. It's literally the exact same Raven from the Vikings emblem here. Anyway, Japanese samurai are doing Japanese samurai things. Combito's still working towards the win. He had 2 ravens, he did. But I think the traditional flags only had 1 raven, right? Yep. Huggin' and munnin'. It's huggin' and munnin'. I know that's not how it's pronounced, but it's funnier that way. Alright, Karax are Karacking. And there's the GG. Okay, that was a bizarre game. It was long, and yet it was really boring. It's like Combito has a huge lead, and then he makes a lot of very questionable decisions in early Imperial Age. Antagonist, like, tries to come back, but he's so far behind that it doesn't matter at all. 2 ravens? Ah, yes, there we go. Apply to Karax? I mean, I think that the devs are likely going to add Karax-specific bonuses, but they're just waiting for the unit to be balanced in the first place. Which I think is the correct approach. Alright, Combito up 2-1. So far, both players winning their home maps. I mean, Antagonist's win was like, okay. But yeah, both players looking strong there. Swahili Civ? Yeah, I think that's likely added. Alright, guys, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. What's up, baby? All right, Regicide. Too low. Interesting. Get into it. Doing voiceovers? Whatever pays, man. What's up, OnlyFans? Yeah. All right, guys, here we are on Too Low. We'll feature Combito in the red as the Burgundians up 2-1, and Antagonist going to be in the blue as the Khmer to the northeast. Early Doc coming on in. I think you have to play for the middle here. Go visit Uncle C-Tom. Not in this game. Probably gonna be on Coastal Arena if we get to it, though. Alright, 15 pop DBA. Now, this is the thing with Burgundians on hybrid maps that is a little bit tricky, right? You want to get the early double bit X, it still costs 50 wood. Do you get it early and build the dock a little later? Oh, you start with the queen. I guess go girl power? Except all the queens are European. They don't... Queens, didn't get their own regional skins. Oh yeah, but it's like, do you go for the dock early and get DBA later, or do you get DBA early and go for the dock later? It's a little tricky, but I think the correct play is to get DBA a bit later, I think. And actually deleting the gate there, kind of odd. Kind of odd. If I could compare it to a Pokemon, I'd say it's oddish. Princess Yodit uses? Does she have her own skin? I mean, Yodit herself only appears in the first scenario. Maybe they didn't think it was worth doing a skin just for that. Then again, Dagnajon has his own... Like, Dagnajon has his own unique model, which is pretty cool. And he's only in the last scenario. Barely. Man, that last Yodit scenario is not good. I mean, it was never good, but, like, it's pretty bad. Alright, so Combito is up to Feudal Age fast. And he is going to be playing for some water control. Is Yodit's that good? Well, the concept of the second and third scenario is good. And the concept of the fourth scenario is also pretty good. The execution is not very good, though. page to the wiki. That's the back.
Bonjour.
Part of his wall's to lure on the boar. He's probably going to drop a TC over there. Like on the gold there. Anyway, it's hulking time, baby. Oh. Trying to bait the scout into the dock fire. How much? Yeah, I don't know. A demo as well. Osaw already in it here as well here for our red player. It was just one villager, I think, now on the way up to Castle Age as Antagonist. The Hulks do die to archers. Well, you have to be very careful because the Hulks also kill the archers really fast. Yeah, you're just going straight FC. Which isn't necessarily bad. Issue, though, is that there isn't any stone on the inside. There's only stone on the outside. So you can only make one extra TC if you don't have a market. Because these trees have 200 wood on them, so they're double thick. And we're talking thick with 2 Cs, guys. That's how thick they are. Anyway, fishing line's coming in. Get that upgrade nice and cheap. You could even grab gill nets if you really wanted to. There's still plenty of shorefish left to take. Oh, a stable incoming. I mean, he's going to have to add in at least 1 TC, otherwise he's going to fall really far behind in economy. Unless he's going all in, which I guess is possible. But thick doesn't have 2 Cs. Rob, see, I say a lot of things I should never say. I don't know. Is only being able to add 1 TC really enough here? There's only 5 vills on food anyway. And there's a market coming in, too. I don't know. I'm not too sold by any of this. This is like one of those situations where Tulo might look like it's an FC map, but I feel like the player who just fights harder for the tiny pond in the middle usually wins. 3 Cs minimum, yeah. I mean, yeah, I still have a lot of wood to chop through there. Alright, Castle Age on the way here for Combito, and again, he just has the better fishing ships. He's got a nice lead in resources collected. He's also going to be able to chop through soon, especially because you are the Burgungans. Alright, there's the second TC. I feel like this play would be better in general if he chops through faster and maybe prioritizes it and micros the villagers a little bit better, but it is tricky. Not a fan of all this fighting here, though. Maybe this map, I would like it a bit better if it was undockable in the middle. But I just, maybe because I don't find tiny pond fighting very compelling. Like, it's not a bad map, but I feel like this is a little too dominant. Good quick balls there. Careful of the demo. And at the very least, our blue player does have the second TC, obviously a lot faster than red, who isn't even up to Castle Age yet. But I mean, this resources difference is quite staggering. That's 1 demo for 1 Scout Cavalry. That's a good trade here for Antagonist. Here are Men-at-Arms. I mean, that's always the issue with, like, these food in the middle maps. And it probably just turns into Romans and Sicilians and Japanese. Whoa, that is a fast 2-man saw, man. I mean, guys, that's 200 wood still. Like, that's a lot for early Castle Age. I mean, yeah, good kills. 5 kills to 1 death. There's a third TC coming in for Antagonist, though, and the villager count is at least even for now. Gonna keep harassing those fishing ships at the very least. Oh, I guess he just bought the stone. Yeah, he did. Anyway, monks are coming out. There are 5 relics on this map. It's basically an X shape, or a plus shape, I guess, with this particular generation. So it's a fixed relic location map, which is going to be very, very good for civs that like having relics, which, guess what, includes Burgundians. I mean, every civ likes relics, but, you know, disproportionately liking relics. Horse Collar now coming in. I don't know if it's possible to make this build any faster for Antagonist, but I feel like I'd like it a lot more if it were faster. I just like denying the enemy fishing ships, getting your own extra TCs down, all that stuff. Because now Combito's getting his own 3rd TC in. He's going to be completely safe in doing so. Is he going to buy stone for a 4th TC? Yeah, okay. Oh, he gets it. Oh, that could have been awkward. Lazy Bills. No Lumen. Remember, this is a regicide start, so neither player has Loom at this point. But yeah, I mean, Red's going to be on 4 TCs. The fishing ships have been such a huge engine for his economy. And you do have some extra food on this map, so you can kind of delay the farming a little bit, which is nifty. Now Antagonist is going to have to do that himself. Got his own monastery. It's Monkin time. Have you ever been like, it's Monkin time and monked all over the place? I feel like a castle over here would be really good defensively. I think this is a smart TC position here for Combito, because it can be kind of tough to find farming space on this map. But as things stand, we're once again in a very passive game. But it's just a passive game in which the guy who went aggressive has a big lead. Now, I do have Antagonist starting to pick up relics, which is good. Although I still find it difficult to imagine it being any better than 2 to 3. And of course, getting a castle up in the middle would be a nice potential here for Antagonist to take back some map control, but it could slow down his Imperial Age time. 38 on food right now for Combito. His villager count is going to be popping. He's going to need to secure gold, though. And that is very real, because there is no gold on the outside. It's just stone. All the stone's on the outside, all the gold's on the inside. First month? Yes, he did. Very nice. But where'd the scouts go? There were scouts over here. Yeah, here we are. So, a little bit of a shaky start, in my opinion, for Antagonist, but you know what? He's getting to where he wants to be with his economy. He's basically catching up in villagers. He's still 5 eco units ahead. Fight the 4 TCs, as it's tough to sustain vill production, but Combito should be better off going forward. Oh, look at this 2x2 housing. Once again, Antagonist winning the house war. And when I say house war, I mean house feng shui war. Like another underwhelming demo hit there. I mean, yes, it kills a vill, but a demo for a vill is not a good trade at this stage in the game. A demo for a villager in early feudal age is very different than a demo for a villager in mid-castle age. Okay, once again, Antagonist is going up to Imp on, 80-ish villagers. That's 70 to 90 villager Imp time, which is, again, all the rage these days. And I feel like it's so interesting to have this exact dynamic, and this is something that I'm sure T90 and I could talk about for a very long time. Because like I said in the first game, it really limits what you can go for. Your eco's too big, and it's too slow to go for, like, Monk Siege. And it's too fast to go for anything that isn't, like, archers or skirmishers. Like, we have knights on the way. This is too fast of an imp time if you're going for, Actually, yes, he did get walled off over here, and is getting walled off over here. Although that's not really an issue in the short run. A good castle position here, but you're still really going to struggle to make any sort of useful army behind this. Unless it's archers or skirmishers, and you probably would have already wanted to start that switch. But, like, that is the big downside with these specific uptimes, and I can't help but wonder if players, if they want to do anything other than this 3 TC mini boom into Imperial Age, or even 4 TCs, but you're still clicking up, again, that 70 to 90 villager range. There isn't a whole lot you can do with this. It's like you turn every civ into Vikings. But not every civ is Vikings, man. But look, he's going to go for the range units because that's all you can afford. But, like, is this even very good for Khmer? Not really. And he's going to have to go either archers or skirmishers. I mean, you can start trebbing, and that's why people go for this in the first place, but is that in itself enough? Combito's back to a resources lead. He's ahead in villagers now. Getting mining upgrades. Yeah, Combito really hasn't shown his hand, though, into what he's also going to... I mean, yeah, like I said, when you're clicking up in this exact time frame, it's probably only going to be able to go for archers. Yep. And this is probably just going to be skirmishers. I think it's a really interesting discussion to have, though. That's totally possible, for sure. But because Combito has the better eco, he will be able to mass skirms nicely over time. That said, he was also quite late in going into stone, so he's going to be behind in the Treb War. So there is a very real downside there. Anyway, the queen's over here in the TC to the back. Of course, just flip-flopping, and of course, sniping the TCs is very nice. And you are still, you know, you're adding more vills behind it, so there is a very real, you know, benefit to that. Gets a few vill kills here. Honestly, Antagonist has 15 villager kills over the course of the game. Now, note that, like, 5 of those are fishing ships, but even so, getting even 10 kills throughout Castle Age is quite helpful. But, I mean, this is why people go for these uptimes in the first place, right? Get the castles down, go for the Treb War, win the video game. And it's also true that you don't have that much space with which to work on this map. And I think gold especially is potentially going to be a big issue here for Combito, because he doesn't have a gold mine over here. If he had the gold mine over there, then I think we could be cooking with peanut oil, as somebody would say. But this is going to be tricky. Does Combito have loom? Nope. All right, yeah, you definitely want loom at this point. Any sort of higher level discussion that we have on imp timing philosophy is kind of going by the wayside when you don't have loom. Oh boy. I mean, that's just game losing right there. And I know. Isn't that smart of me? Aren't I smart? Now, of course, bombard cannons are huge here for the Burgundians, but you're losing way too much eco as Combito. If only he had a way to make his villagers die more slowly to archers. Oh, that's a great hit, though. And now you're just going to try and switch into skirms as antagonists like this. This is neither player developing a good army composition, but that's still going to favor Burgundians who have the better eco at this point, even still, and they have the bombard cannons. So, like, Antagonist is not setting himself up very well for the long run here whatsoever. Even Stonewall's walling out that stone is so bizarre. But I mean, he's obviously just doing a ton of different things at once. But yeah, this is how we get to Skirm v Skirm. All roads lead to Skirm v Skirm. Have better trash? It's less about having better trash, although they do have the better skirmishers, and more the fact that the supporting units are a lot better for Burgundians and that they have bombard cannons, and very good bombard cannons at that. That said, this trebuchet control has been very good for Antagonist. Also, yeah, but we're not to Hussars at the moment. I mean, they're on 120 vills, but they don't have that tech switch done at all. Now, Combito has a ton of stone. He's also adding in barracks, I guess, for some Flemish militia. Oh, you have a little bit of space there to go for the Treb snipes. Obviously, it's just these bombard cannons are the most important unit on the field, and a huge, vector that you can get the army advantage even when the numbers aren't very good for you. Yeah, now we have the Cavalier switch incoming that you're on 120 to 30 villagers, but even so, it's not like it's an insane unit here in the late game. And we already have the Flemish militia coming out. And any Khmer late game that doesn't involve scorpions, elephants, or elephant scorpions is not going to be all that impressive. Okay, there's freaking Loom coming in, but obviously you've already lost 40 villagers. Not very impressive there. But yeah, the cannons are the equalizer, for sure. Oh, we lost a cannon, I think, to Trebs. Yeah, like I said, the Treb control from Antagonist has been very good. And Combito has a slight lead in terms of resources, but not by much. Oh, and he didn't have any armor upgrades. Oh, holy cow, that's really bad. Yeah, it's not having those important upgrades. Your units are going to die super fast. And now you have all the defense upgrades in as our blue player. I mean, it's just 1 damage in the Skirm Wars, but it's still nice to have. All right, Flemish militia are indeed coming on out. It's still so weird that neither player has a good army composition, just with how the meta works these days. And cannons coming in too, though. Cavalier trying to dive bomb the bombard cannons. Obviously Antagonist knows that is the critical unit. But now that the armor upgrades are in, who would have thought that makes a big difference? Now this castle still might get sniped. Probably will, actually. But it's going to come at the cost of quite a lot of trebuchets. And you might snipe some bombards here, but you're losing a lot of Cavalier. Yeah, that's a very expensive fight there for Antagonist. And the castle doesn't even go down! Oh, that is huge. That absolutely is huge. Oh, and a good bombard cannon hit there from Combito. Now, gold is still going to be a big issue. You have only 1 relic. And, like, this is your gold income at the moment. Unless there's other... Oh, no, he's getting his gold over here to the west. That's very good for Combito. He needs that gold income. More bombards are on the way. Now, the army value is going to be a lot higher right now for Antagonist, because he's got Cavalier and hand cannoneers. But, like I said, you don't have an eco lead, and you have no bonus to these units at all. So you'd kind of want one or the other. I mean, Cavalier hand cannon is a just good general army composition, but is it really going to be as efficient as you need at the moment? Now, you are going to have Antagonist start to change his angle of attack over here to the west because he sees gold and the castle right there. I mean, like, that's good, but... I feel like Combito still is going to be working towards the win in the long run at this point. Well, I mean, Elite Battle... Okay, there's Elite Battle Elephant coming in, but it's like, why didn't you just go for this in the first place? Castle over here to the west, going to secure some more gold income. Do wish that Antagonist got more relics with his map control, but, you know. Yeah, no. Oh, we got Donald Tusk swords incoming. Oh, don't worry, guys. We're gonna legislate the crap out of this army. I mean, these elephants are necessary. I mean, like, look at this. Like I said, your chances of winning this game as the not economically advantageous Khmer eco is entirely reliant on you getting better units than you have. This is just not efficient. Now, he is still ahead in military score, but that's also going to be including a lot of these buildings that are getting destroyed. Oh, repair! Very nicely done. But yeah, now, guys. Oh, man. What are you going to do when Donald Tusk comes for you? I know, it's Tusk. Last furnace coming in. There's going to be fully operational battle elephants. Full upgrades. And, I mean, Combito is not at all prepared for this. Imagine if he went for these in the first place, man. Still, you need the siege. And that is something that you lost during that Cavalier play, which, like I said, just was not destined for great success. So he still can't really destroy any buildings. Raiding with the Cavalier is certainly not a bad use of those units, though. And now Halb is in. And that's going to be much more necessary versus these elephants, as Flemish Militia, less of a hard counter to elephants than Halbs are, as you would expect. Denying that gold income is actually very, very nice. And now it's going to be Combito in just a moment, who's simply not able to get to a good army. Wait, he lost all the elephants? Okay, he's like, need to make more elephants. Yeah, the game. I mean, the games have been flawed, as you'd expect from Silver League, but it's still very good. Murder Hole's actually the good idea there, because like I said, that gold income is critical, and if you can get the win here with as Antagonist, despite having the worst economy and the worst army, it's with map control. And that's still always a way that you can just get a victory, even if everything else in the game is going wrong. If your opponent doesn't have access to resources, you can just win that way. And that could be exactly what you're seeing right now. Behind in resources, behind in army numbers and value, but his opponent doesn't have no gold! Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no gold! And Combito, entirely reliant on cannons to have like a decent unit, otherwise it's just trash units. Caravan, let's go! Oh my goodness, guys, this trade is going to be insane for Combito. Okay, look at that, yoinking the relic. So at that Antagonist, realizing that's his win condition, because now the Halbs are out in force. It's going to be very difficult to take good fights there. Castle's destroyed, guys. I think Antagonist is going to be working towards the victory. And that's how you do it. Deny the gold. And now you have the elephant-based army composition that can actually challenge the units, and it's like good enough, right? Now look at the army value completely flipping. Oh man, guys, this game is so demonstrative. Like, this is a super teachable game in explaining like why the meta is the way it is, the decisions players make, and how you can win games in either position. Make good units and win. It's make good units and deny your opponent resources. Make the best units you can. But it's how you get the victory, right? Like, I know it seems silly, but if you didn't make that elephant switch, you don't take efficient enough fights to deny the gold. And the chances of you actually pushing your opponent and just like destroying him are fairly low. Antagonist looking to try and tie up this series. Need more elephants? Yeah, you're gonna need more than 2 elephants. Yes, that is very true. But this is fine. The skirmishers are dying, and you replace the skirmishers with elephants. Your eco's gigantic. You absolutely can and should do that. I would love to see that he, has heavy plow and crop rotation at this point as well. Built up to 6 trebs. Again, like, this is everything you need to do as Antagonist. It wasn't the best decision-making to get there, but he's getting there. That said, this is what you want to do if you're the guy with the better eco, worse army. Just keep taking fights. Keep on trading away those unit numbers. But now the elephant reinforcements are coming in, and obviously, like, this is the difference maker, right? You have 9 halbs versus 16 elephants! I don't know if you guys know this, but 9 halbs do not beat 16 elephants. Okay, now you're at 18. That's getting better, but that's where the skirmishers and hand cannons come in as the anti-halb units in the back line. He's kind of throwing, though. And by I say kind of, I mean he's really throwing. Like I said, Antagonist doesn't really have the better eco, and he only has the better army if obviously everything is together. So what he's doing is he's trickling, which is a great way to start wasting a ton of resources and to let Combito climb his way back into this one. This would be very nice snipe, though. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Worth it? Yes, hand cannons are absolutely worth it. If anything, the skirms aren't worth it. You just want hand cannon elephant. Because, again, you have 41 bills on gold! Alright, Antagonist realizes he still doesn't have that path to victory anymore. Does tap out. He lost 121 bills. It wasn't a perfect game from either player, but like I said, I think everybody watching could learn a lot from it, and I'm sure if these guys, when these guys go back and watch these games, they themselves will also learn a lot from it. You can see not a gold unit here in the top 2 units made, and the Flemish militia barely count as a gold unit. Overall, still the great KD. Look at that gold collected difference, even if you were behind in everything else. Regarding unit switches, map control timing, absolutely. Which is why I think when people are like, oh, it's a Civ win or a Civ loss, and people just think too much in absolute army compositions. Alright, that's Khmer over Burgundians. And that is the home map of Antagonist. So, thus far, everybody winning their home maps. But we have all water maps versus all closed maps here in the draft. And looks like African River will be next. So Antagonist, because he lost game number 1, still has to win one of his opponent's home maps if he wants to win this series. Anyway, African River Civs, Dravidians, and maybe Koreans. Yeah, maybe Armenians. Then I think you can save Italians for Coast Arena, and then the last map is Bypass, play Portuguese there, or Britons. Yeah, all this seems good to me. I don't think anyone's going to be stuck with a bad hand as far as civs go here at the end. All right, be right back, guys. All right. Has TTL been fun? The games have been a little weird, but they've been compelling. Compelling viewing, at least. Except the Seychelles game, that was kind of bad, but all the other games have been pretty good. Wow, Ornlu, you thought all of the land maps were good and you thought the one water map was bad? Yeah. Tell it to the judge. I actually do like Seychelles as a map. Just that particular game was weird. Anyway, guys, we are here on African River. Very, very aggressive. We haven't had any super aggressive maps yet. So, Combito is going to be the Red Dravidians to the west, and Antagonist is going to be the Blue Armenians to the east. Although we are all tied up at 2 apiece, Antagonist still needs to win one of these home maps of his opponent. Because Coast Arena is Combito's last map. So Antagonist is going to need to win that one if he does not win this one. On the Chompy Rush? Oh, it's overpowered for sure. It just needs to be nerfed. That said, I think it's a pretty quick fix. We don't know necessarily if any of the other aspects of the new civs are overpowered yet, although I think it's pretty unlikely. So I actually think that after the Chompy nerf comes in, which again, I would be flabbergasted if we didn't have one by the end of the week. I think the new civs are probably fine. They honestly probably won't even be played very much at that point. Especially 2P. And especially if they nerf Curare. If they nerf Curare and the Chompies, I would imagine 2P are just not played very often. So, let's see what these guys are going to have in store. Not going for the middle. Gaster to be flabbered? I am so ready. They do Empire Wars. Now, what's interesting is that they do not have a bunch of settlements. They have one settlement that replaces a mill in the same way that Poles have a folvark that replaces a mill. Other than that, they actually start with all the regular drop-off sites. All, you know, the lumber camps and mining camps. So otherwise, like, Incas would start with, like, you know, 150 pop space, but they do not. Or Mapuche could start just, like, immediately train a gajillion units. They do not. Second Vilgo node over here for Antagonist. Making sure that he's not having a Vil that gets immediately sniped. One Vil here for Combito, which you gotta be careful about. Although it is kind of close to the woodline, it's still, you know, you gotta be careful, though the fishing ship's garrisoning does help. Gold efficient? Yeah, the issue for the late game of the Mapuche is their lack of siege. Their siege is pretty bad. But the Trash War stuff is good. So they're a little bit like Lithuanians in that regard. But not overpowered with the late Chai. So I think that's actually a pretty fair comparison. But yeah, they do have some good late game strength. Muisca as well. Obviously, if they have gold, they can make a very scary army. Muisca with gold will probably find a way to kill you, at least in terms of compositions. I do think that 2P are a weak late game civ, but like that's how the civ is designed. It's like, it's okay to have a civ that's aggressive and not really as good in the late game. It's you know, how some civs work, and 2P are one of them. Although they still have options, right? Like, I played a game of Arena with 2P, and I was against Mapuche. So I wasn't facing a civ with good siege, or good monks. And I think either of those things just obliterate 2P on Arena. I think they're one of the weakest civs in that regard. But what I did do is I was able to hold on with the archers, the Blackwood archers, and the Ibirapema warriors against his Chompies. And that felt very good. And just the units were giving me resources over time. I think it's a really interesting bonus. And I'm a guy who doesn't like bonuses that make a bad situation less bad. I think they're actually not... It's like it's a bonus that you don't want to have to use, but the way that the 2P work out with their units all being so cheap and weak, generally speaking, that it's more of a long-term resources over time bonus, which I think works out really well and gives the Civ a ton of flavor in terms of like their army composition. Yeah, exactly. Like it. The only other civs that it could work with are Goths or Malay, right? Because those are the other two, like, you know, unit spam, cheap but weak units. I mean, it would be broken with either of those civs, but I think because it's attached to Tupi, it works out really well. Like, remember when they were going to have that bonus for Burgundians, and it would just be, like, a super insane eco, and you just trade knights and get, like, a ton of gold back over time? The Tupi units generally don't have that much gold value attached to them. So, I mean, you have the Ibirapema warriors, which are 60 gold, which are obviously a fair amount, and the Blackwood archers are also pretty gold intensive. But, like, even then, it's not like you're getting a huge amount of value back, because it's just 15% total resources. Now, what I have heard is that the whole thing where the Blackwood archers give you basically the full refund, or, like, double the refund, because you train a pair of Blackwood archers, and each one will give you 15% of the total resources you spend, so you're actually getting 30% back on your Blackwood archers. Apparently, that is not intended, so I imagine that in a patch, that will be fixed. Which I find very odd that was not known ahead of time. That was very strange to me, because that was literally the first thing I checked with Blackwood archers, and it was the first thing I think a lot of people wanted to know about with Blackwood archers. I don't know if this is possible, but I think it would be a cool change if it was only for the elite version that you got the extra resources back. Because right now, elite Blackwood Archer is such a bad upgrade. It's just 5 HP. Was 50%, yeah, free units! The value! Anyway, good quick balls here for Combito. No long swordsman upgrade yet, you just don't have the food for it. Don't see an archery range yet, as our red player is ostensibly just focused here on the water, and that's exactly what's happening. That's a double dock for Antagonist, too. It's rough for his overall income, but if he can keep that idle TC time low enough, then it could be okay, and having those extra water buffalo there is very important. Hey, Chupta. Not the ostriches! Rip. Anyway, double tower defense. Obviously a huge investment into the defenses here for Combito, who's focusing mostly on the water. Plus 10. Oh, I definitely don't think the Blackwood Archers need more of a stat buff. Because that's the thing, right? It's kind of like Composite Bowmen, where they get so much value from Bracer, Chemistry, and then Curare, that I don't think you can give them more damage. So I think giving them a little bit more return on investment when they die would actually be a way that you could make the elite upgrade more enticing. While still being balanced. Oh, okay, yeah. Kinda. I mean, that's not exactly how that works, but you can think about it like that if you want. Are the Panama Warriors? They have their role. They are your strong unit, right? I mean, they're still not that strong in the grand scheme of things, but they're your frontline unit. And they fill that role very well. They complement the Chompies nicely. They're good in melee combat, especially against, you know, more massed up numbers of units, but they aren't that good pound for pound individually against a lot of stuff. And they, you know, they're somewhat weak to archers and heavy cavalry. So you have a role for your Halbs, you have a role for your Ibirapema warriors, and you have a role for your Chompies. Skirmers be viable? Yeah, I do think they just need a cost decrease. I think that's actually very straightforward. Alright, that fill walls herself in, but I mean, at this point, you could certainly argue that Antagonist is just not doing enough here. It's 2 fishing ships to 4, with another one even on the way. And this very defensive player in the land, focusing on the water, it's working out so far here for Combito. Is it the most syllables? Ibirapema Warrior. So it's 8 syllables and then 10 with elite. That might be the most. Yeah, 10 syllables in English is a lot. Oh, I'm gonna delete Hussite Wagon. Elite Hussite Wagon. Actually, that's only 6. Wow. Oh, no. Well, I mean, sometimes you just have to wait for your units to find that damage that they need and gets the kill there. Panama. Decrease the attack speed for non-elite. That could also be something you do. I really like the Blackwood Archers. I think they're cool. And I think they're a good foil to the Karambit Warriors, which are also, I think, a cool unit. And very fitting with the Civ theme, right? I will say, though, that all of these civs are so thematically distinct, which I really like. None of the new civs, and also Incas, have a very clear, like, one-to-one replacement. Or, like, a role that they just completely slot into. It's the demo kill there, so Antagonist is starting to get those Vil kills. And both players are fairly similar in Castle Age uptime, and in fact, Antagonist is going to be a hair faster, most likely. Oh, big sinking right there. Yep. No Vil's dying there. Actually, oh, a couple units dying for Antagonist. Hen fishing ships, though, guys. That is so huge. Alright, Hulk production is resuming, and more demos for Antagonist. Oh my goodness, what the heck is that? What excessively German word is that? Run away, archers! I guess Ospilla was intending to build a forward dock, but obviously that's not going to be terribly successful. And yeah, we'll just have to see how this is going to work out on the land. It was looking really bad for Antagonist. Now it's okay. Did lose the Vil there. Oh, for Ibir Pema. Oh, what's this? Oh, a fortified church rush. Is that even good anymore? I feel like this was appropriately nerfed into the ground. Is not loading? It's loading for me. Just dead chat. Because the stream is more washed than freaking Viper, man. That's pretty washed. No medium warships upgrade. Oh, that's some good value. Again, like, it didn't start with enough value for Antagonist, but he eventually got enough done that this game still hangs in the balance. Remember, there's like no food income for Antagonist, so he really needs to make something happen. On ladder to a 2K player? Oh no! What a grand achievement, NP Souls. Well done. I'm so close to 2K. I'm gonna try. Maybe I can get 2K this week. If I can just play Arena and Hideout, or in Socotra, I could probably get 2K pretty soon. Need a few more wins, man. AoE 2, yeah, it's good stuff. Even doing laundry, there you go. Guard tower coming in. This is still going to be uphill, though, so less amazing than you would want it to be in terms of defending here. And it's just monks for now, no warrior priests. And there is a TC on the outside, so it's not an all-in. TC on the outside here as well here for Combito. Also, whose cross is this? Like, this is a very real, like, medieval insignia, but I forget who it belongs to. Is this the Knights Templar or something like that? But yeah, like the triangle. Oh, hospital. Darn it! It was the other one. Which is funny because in game they're represented by the Teutons who don't even use that flag. All right, 3 mangonels out, and like I said, attacking downhill like this, the mangonels should be able to take down this tower fast, although you still do want a Vil here to repair. And that's an armored elephant? Not too sold on that. Warhulk's doing great here on the outside, though. But there's only 5 fishing ships left. Like I said, Antagonist is done a very good job of slowly but steadily getting that damage done. And remember, he needs to win one of these maps, either this or Coastal Arena. And he's starting to look better and better now. Vil count is still quite comparable. It's interesting that it looked like he was all poised for the all-in with, like, you know, forward siege, fortified churches, very few Vils on food, but now he's just on 3 TCs. Like, he has just enough to keep him going. And cute usage of the mule cart there to absorb the arrow fire. The German logic, yeah. Kianan with the 34 months. Thank you so much, Kianan. Their TC's in for Combito, but this is still a very scary push. Well, rip the elephant. And he did lose the relic. Yeah, now the mangonel is uphill. Those fishing ships could also die if these hulks were paid attention to in the slightest. TCing the forage bush is also nice because you had very little wood at the time for farms, but now that you're actually getting that eco down, it's helping out a lot. The eco upgrades are also better here for Antagonist. And the res collected are still quite comparable. And that's with, you know, Combito having the huge fishing ship lead. So it's been an interesting game, for sure. Good hybrid map game. And of course, just like by the nature of how things have gone out, like neither player has any cavalry with which to deal with all these mangonels. But you get redemption as the Armenians, you sure don't as the Dravidians, and that could be a huge deal. That is what happens when you try and push uphill like that. Hybrid map games, that's true. And I do remember that I need to be bitter and hateful as much as possible. It's very important to my identity. I mean, you're actually still up to 7 fishing ships as red. Where are they? Where are they, actually? Oh. They're sailing around, not doing a whole lot. 4th TC now in here for Combito. So far, guard tower defense, it's been good enough. And now he's got his own mangonels here on the high ground. I lose my selling feature? Yeah, exactly. Bodler as a mod, yeah. I mean, that's really when the stream went downhill. nothing to do with me not, hosting major tournaments, or me not streaming as consistently as I used to, or the rise of up-and-coming streamers, T West and Daniela. No, it all started when I got Fodler as a mod. My inner bitterness real fast, that's true. Thankfully for everybody concerned, nobody can safely put fish traps. Alright, Antagonist has enough stone for a castle. And is yoinking that relic back. Where to place the castle? Oh, Imp! Whoa, I didn't even check the resources there. Oh, he sold wood for it. Okay. This could be certainly a route to victory. His TC. No! Okay, that's not the TC I would personally get Imperial Age in, but you know what? I'm not as good a player as Antagonist. A fake nicety. Alright, Imp not too far behind for Combito, though, and he is ahead in resources, remember, but he is not developing much of an army. He has water control, so you could imagine he could, in theory, go cannon galleons. Really isn't a whole lot to stop that. I imagine Antagonist is going to want to add in some composite bowmen. He is grabbing fletching. It's just going to be a good all-purpose unit for him right now. Tomorrow instead of today? Probably just what they could schedule. Scheduling is hard, man. It is very difficult. 23 on stone, by the way. Pick what time they complete. Most any other competition, the organizations have significantly more leverage than players do. Tournament on high roads? Indeed. But this has been a good game. It's been interesting for sure. And, I mean, the composite bowman upgrades are still coming in. Now, Combito does have skirmishers. Also, the Imp is in a safe TC over here. Smart move. They have leverage? Not really. Because they need the players to compete. They do. Trust me. Organizers and whatnot do want that. But generally speaking, the tournaments need the players much more than the players need the tournaments. At least the players that, matter for these things. Yeah, again, like, the Players' Council has representatives when we make the unified rulebook. And there's a lot of compromising that happens. But the players have a lot more leverage than you probably think. Well, the mangonels are starting to go down, and of course the skirmishers will trade well over time against the composite bowmen, which is, especially Dravidian skirmishers on top of that. Video? Nope, haven't had time. Also, I actually don't consume that much other AoE content. Reliant on each other to have tournaments? They are. The difference is that it's not that the tournaments are reliant on players in general. Tournaments are reliant on the big name players, and the big name players have a very significant amount of leverage. In that none of the big name players really need the tournaments because none of the big name players get their most of their income through tournament prize pool. They get it through content creation. And you can't just make exceptions for the big name players, right? So, you try to be accommodating to people because on the one hand, you either have the big name players who have the leverage to get a lot more leeway. Or you have the players who are not full-time, which in general everyone tries to be accommodating for at this point because it's generally good for AoE if we have more players that can try and be competitive. Content, and yet it is. On the better day. Generally speaking, I agree. The issue arises when the players themselves, they don't usually ever feel like casting their own tournament sets, which is understandable. And so what happens is they would stream something else while, like, the actual tournament set's going on. Like, imagine Hera streaming ladder games or, any other content he wants to make. Nice kill there. While his TTL set's going on because they were played at a time that's better for, or it was broadcast at a time that's better for viewership overall. Anyway, this is getting pretty weird. The composite bowmen are still doing work. And skirmishers and composite bowmen sort of have that relationship where both units can kill each other pretty fast. Oh, there are the fish traps coming in, but I'm fine with these fish traps. Uncle C-Tom's also on the field. But of course, this is the thing. Skirmishers have more range, and with Dravidians, they have the faster attack speed, which is very helpful. And those composite bowmen are starting to go down. Combito's food income isn't the best, though, and you can see he's not going to be in the greatest spot to continue to produce skirmishers. As he also has 3 bombard cannons on the way. When he has quadruple siege workshop. I mean, a couple of them are almost dead. Oh, one's actually coming up. Yes, Combito does have water, and that's making things really tough. And I think he might just be working his way towards victory. Double TCs to the south. Again, other than that Sage Shell game, this has been a very interesting series. And I think it's a great example of how you get compelling AoE when you don't have the top names and the very best players competing. I mean, both of these guys are 2K5 plus. Like, they're very, very good. And we can see things that they do really well, like, good macro, good decision-making, all that stuff. And yet, it's not perfect. It's a little bit messy. Oh yeah, I literally blocked Zimbabwe from my mind. Okay, yeah, Zimbabwe and Seychelles weren't very good, but the other 3 games have been very good in terms of interesting AoE watching. Block printing coming in, but it's going to be tough for Antagonist, I think. I mean, the population is still pretty good, and he's doing a good job pushing in the way he can, insofar as he can. But it's tricky, man. Combito has all the outside, and he has the water. And even though he doesn't have, like, the best upgraded navy, he only has 16 warships that don't have Imperial Age upgrades, it's enough. And of course, Combito's been able to use that to go, expand on the sides, get a big eco lead. Bills are trying to come here to the north. Good food eco? Yeah, I mean, that's... But, like, that's the entire way that his gameplay was set up. Which I don't think is necessarily bad, by the way. So it's like, in early Castle Age, you go forward with the Fortified Church, Siege Workshop, and just try and keep Combito on the back foot. Then he added in his own eco behind it, which was fine. He went up to 3 or 4 TCs. Unfortunately, not really able to deal that punching, huge knockout punch to Combito because Combito did such a good job of just delay, expand, get that food income set up all over the place. And that allowed him to switch into the, food-intensive skirmisher army, and then give him time to get the bombard cannons going. I mean, it's just good AoE, right? Combito doing a great job of recognizing his win conditions. Antagonist, I do think it's smart that he added the eco in the first place because he just couldn't kill Combito fast enough no matter what. But I think that even so, it's a very difficult push to try and make work.
Dang, this is some good AoE analysis. This caster must know what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, the skirm's being very efficient here. And obviously you just don't have the eco to switch into anything else. Random towers incoming? Why not? Why not? Tech switch? I feel like you're not believing hard enough, Rovsy. It's like, you know, Antagonist is kind of hanging in there, but you can just see that he is going to get grounded down eventually. Making a switch over into regular archers. I guess that's okay? What do ARBs give you here as Combito? I mean, I guess they're better at sniping monks, but not by that much. I mean, it's not like Antagonist can go his own skirms right now because, again, 8 Vils on food, so I guess it's probably fine. Much more focused on actually talking the game when players are the lower level 3 men in the game. Down would be talking on spices. Well, I mean, I talk about, like, when I'm, you know, just on my own channel, I tend to get distracted if there is a lot happening in chat, or if the game isn't very interesting, or it's just very one-sided. But this game has just had a lot to talk about. Or, you know, this series has had a lot to talk about, so I talk about it. The ferret switch, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can certainly, I can understand that, but it's just, maybe just because we have our panoptic vision, we know that Antagonist has no ability to switch into champions or anything else, really, because of the lack of food income, although you really should be aware of that lack of food income. But I mean, maybe it's the pedagogue in me that enjoys, I think, again, like, there's so much you can learn from this game as a viewer and as a player at any level, really. Anyway, this is getting pretty over. GG called. And Combito wins. So that means, guys, Antagonist, to win this series, will need to win both of the remaining games, obviously, but that will include one of his opponent's home maps. And this all goes back to everybody winning their home maps, but Combito, in a narrow victory, took game number 1. More gold collected for Antagonist, but eventually it was that booming, that eco that Combito got down with the fishing ships that really paid off over time. Oh, thanks, not Platypus. I mean, it's a qualifying match. I have zero problems with this being a best of 7. This decides who goes into Gold League and who has stuck in Silver. Alright, that is Dravidians over Armenians in another very good game. And African River has given us some good games. I think that as far as aggressive hybrid maps go, African River is actually quite a bit better than High Tides in terms of, like, average game quality it gives us. But maybe that's also just because we've seen High Tide so much more. Anyway, we have Bypass and Coast Arena. And I will say, overall, I think this map pool is probably the best TTL map pool so far. Remember when it had Houseboat in the map pool? Those were dark days. Yeah, so Bypass is going to be next, and I think both players have good civs for each of the remaining maps. So Bypass, you could actually go any of the civs as Combito. I think you want to save Italians for Coastal Arena, which is your #1 home map, and I think that just makes the most sense. So Britons or Portuguese here would both be good. Portuguese are going to be more meta than Britons, but Britons are still going to be quite strong. And then for Antagonist, I think that, again, you could go... Yeah, you can just go for whatever you want. Personally, I would like Koreans more for the... Actually, do you go Koreans at all? I like Bengalis the most on both this map and on Coastal Arena. Why it doesn't have Arena Arabia? Because the thought process is that we see those maps all the time. And in a draft pick setting, we'd see the same exact civs over and over and over and over again because they would also be picked constantly. Turtle ship? I mean, you could certainly go for it, but I also like Bengalis and Spanish there a lot. But like I said, I don't think nobody's getting a civ win, and this is interesting. This is not necessarily what I expected. Okay, give me 1 sec, guys. I'll be right back. There's going to be a lot to there's a lot to talk about. All right. Those maps are hardly ever played in tournaments. It is correct. They're mostly played in A-tier tournaments. I actually think that it does get very boring if you insert Arabia and Arena into map drafts, because one, they're going to be picked constantly, and two, we're going to see the same civs over and over again. So if you're going to work Arabia and Arena into map drafts in like big tournaments, I would much rather those be in situations where you just can't pick the same 5 civs over and over again. And that's why they try to add in, their own unique maps to add a little bit more flavor and strategy and preparation and stuff like that. From doing that, I agree with that. I think that we as a community really, really like having map drafts for some reason. I think fixed maps and very, all over the place civs could actually be very interesting. Like, we have Arabia and Arena and Baltic and stuff like that, but, 35 civs get banned randomly. Something like that. But again, players like to be able to prep their civs. And the big organizers really like to showcase player preparation as a skill. Which isn't necessarily wrong, right? T90 really likes to reward players who prepare a lot. And that's something that in his tournaments he really likes to showcase. Mem as well. That nobody enjoys? Yeah, I feel like that would, of course that'd be the case. It's done in the exact wrong way possible. Anyway, guys, this is a decider game. Combito, I mean, again, just a shade better overall compared to Antagonist. He lost one game because he got lamed early on and just died within 3 minutes. And then he lost the other game. What was the other Antagonist win? Oh yeah, that was the Khmer game. That was just a very good game from Antagonist and really, really instructive. And I think that Antagonist just had the better decision making there. But this is likely going to be more like Tulo or Zimbabwe. So we'll have to see what the plan is, because Antagonist is going freaking Koreans here, which I am really surprised by. Not that Koreans are bad, but Bengalis and Spanish are both better civs if you're going aggressive, unique unit, and monk. In fact, both are excellent civs in that regard. Or play Cumans? I think people just have fallen out of favor with Cumans. I mean, they actually were the #1 civ ban here from Antagonist, so I also think they're banned a lot because people don't want to have to deal with Cumans. Is T90 co-casting this set with someone? Because this is a really good set that I think you could have a lot of very good discussion.
Oh my god. We already got access. We got the passes.
What? No idea. If you can go past Castle Age, well, that's where the Cuman Tower Rush comes in. I think the Cuman Tower Rush is overpowered on this map, honestly. It's just like the perfect map for it. Keep the game in Feudal Age. You just go up to Feudal Age super fast, add the TC behind it, and just keep the game in Feudal Age. I think it's really hard to do anything about it. But yeah, I'm really curious as to why Korean's here. Yeah, this map in particular is, I think, very, very good for the Cuman Tower Rush. But that's just, you know, sometimes the map architecture works out perfectly in that regard. Yes, in general, like if we're playing Arena, then humans are still very good, but their weaknesses are more easy to expose in the current meta. That reminds me, I want to try Spanish on Arena now with missionaries. Like, I'm thinking, okay, we play old school Arena style. I'm talking double monastery into TCs behind it. And I think you do that with missionaries. I think that could work. I don't think you still don't want to go light cav because Spanish just don't have the eco for it. I mean, you can still go for like the castle drop and just use missionaries to supplement the conks in that way. I think that's fine. But I feel like, again, missionaries to try and take map control while you get your eco behind it is like a low food investment option. I think that could be really good. I actually think that if we're going to have missionaries exist in the way that they do right now, I actually think missionaries should be more expensive than monks. I think there isn't enough of a reason to make monks with Spanish right now. But if you just like missionaries cost 115 gold, let's like, you know, make them 15% more expensive than monks, I think it's fine. Monks will still have their situations in that they're easier to mass up, they have the longer range, and they can hop into defensive, into town centers. Anyway, 23 pop up. Like, this is fast for Antagonist. Like, Combito doing a much more normal looking build here. Easier to convert? Oh, we don't have anything in AoE 2 that's easier to convert, though. I don't even know how that works, or if that's possible. We only have things that are more susceptible to... Or, there are only things that take longer to convert. Yeah, nothing takes shorter time to convert. Yeah, this is a very normal-looking build from Combito. Added one extra farm over the compared to the normal, I would say. Yeah, I mean, this is like extremely normal looking. But okay, this is a nice build. Inquisition is that? Ah, yes, you're right. But I don't know how that, like, the mechanics of that works. I mean, again, it could be a way to balance missionaries. Like, I think it's the easiest solution is just to make them a little bit more expensive, and then you can keep them powerful and interesting.
Tayo?
But, I mean, yeah, there's certainly multiple ways to go about it. Okay, but this is a really nifty build here from Antagonist. 23 plus 2 with a Civ that doesn't have an eco bonus. Yes, that's exactly how it works, Captain Cadaver. Okay, Vil coming forward here, probably just to build an outpost. So you're not getting War Wagon Rush, but, I mean, Omi is just gonna boom. Which is silly. Yeah, I mean, missionaries have basically just been worse monks through their entire history, so, like, I understand buffing them. But I feel like we're kind of getting to the point now they're just better monks, and there needs to be more of a trade-off. Yeah, what an interesting build. Like, okay, you're just gonna straight up boom with Koreans. You're so naked. Like, this feels so risky. Like, it's going to turn out fine, but it feels so risky. Like, what if Combito was just going for a super fast castle drop? Like, look at this. Omi's just chilling. I mean, so is Combito, and it's not going to be much of an advantage for Antagonist, but it'll be a slight advantage. It's not that either Civ have a huge eco bonus in the pure booming department. Being superior again, I just make them a little more expensive in mid. Like and being more expensive is most impactful in mid game. Full, yeah, it's possible. It's looking pretty close to full Ornlu right now. Again, what an interesting series to cast. You know, after being gone for a few days, I'm glad we can come back to a good series of AoE 2. For a slightly quicker move. Yep. And Combito is Portuguese, so he gets the forage bush bonus, which is helps smoothing things out. It's really getting the farms down faster, which is also quite relevant. That said, you also have access to this non-farm based food as Antagonist, so like it kind of balances out there. I think that, interesting build distinctions aside, that both players just decided to play as like normal and free as possible. It's going to kind of cancel out, and I think we could just go late game. And who's the better Civ in late game between Koreans and Portuguese? I mean, that's hard to say. Okay, so some mid-Castle Age pressure. Okay, that's fine. Totally fine here from Combito. Game port, well, which game are you referencing? Oh, the Tulo one? Yeah, Fadarias obviously could be decisive. Oh, he got Loom. Yeah, that was the Tulo game. Oh my god, that hurt. I actually really like this sort of like mid to late castle edge pressure and trying to force your opponent to react into over-investing into a defense, especially if you're more exposed like this. I think it works out on a lot of maps. And this is a good example of a map that it would work on. I mean, I like Bypass a lot as a map, actually. And there's no crazy gimmick with it, right? I mean, I guess the unbuildable terrain in the middle is kind of a gimmick, but this could just as easily be shallows, and it would basically be the same thing. I mean, in theory, you could camp it with, like, you know, cannon galleons and whatnot, but, like, I don't know, make it ice or whatever, like Ghost Lake. Furthering my strong belief that making different adaptations of regular land maps is probably your best bet to create an interesting map pool. Because Bypass also has a lot of different civs viable on it. I mean, as far as any map in this tournament's going to have a lot of viable civs. Anyway, don't do that, Antagonist! Is based. I mean, you want the map control, right? It's not an inherently bad thing to want the map control. Anyway, Barrack's going to come in. He's going to try and go for some Fire Lancers here to chew away these units. A less boomy hideout. Yeah, but I also think hideout's a good map. That has a lot of viable civs on it. So making an adaptation of hideout, I think, is perfectly fine. Arena, hideout, fortress, those. Like, again, use those maps as archetypes, right? Use them as a blueprint. Or you could just include them, and I think if you have some more stringent civ settings, then I think they could totally work. And then you just make different... Oh, God, the siege tower nonsense. With the ridge along the middle that both players spawn on? I'm not sure. I don't think I know that map. But Acropolis is a great map, for sure. Fourth TC now for blue. Already in here for Combito, but remember, Combito has no map control. I mean, he's got the mangonel and stuff over here, but he doesn't have access to any of these resources. I'm sorry. More Trush. I actually think Trushing is probably slightly worse on this map in general than it is on Hideout. It's much easier to pin your opponent in on this map, or on Hideout, than it is on this map. Oh, that one. Yeah, that's a solid map for sure. Again, just sort of like a good variation or adaptation of a normal land map. I forget the name of it. Anyway, get out of here, Siege Tower. Also forgot the map name? Yeah, I'm not that great with map names. All right. Rocket Cart here to help out as well. And Combito is going to be forced back, getting the gold mining upgrade. He does have 3 relics, mind you. Nerf on display? Yeah, I mean, I like it. I don't want siege towers to be used like that. Oh, double delete right there. Oh, boy. Monk also goes down. Scout Cav should get sniped, I think, by the other Scout Cav. No! Yes! No! Yes! No! Interesting. I think that's a pretty good attack round there. Yeah, low HP. Good place. I just don't like siege towers as the speedy armored troop transport. But I guess it's like only a speed improvement for very slow infantry units. Outcrop, yes, that's correct. Yeah, Outcrop's a solid map for sure. All right, Imp coming in though from Combito. Now, if you look at the resources, they are a lot better. And that is entirely because Combito has been hanging out at his base. He's only just now expanding to the golds on the outside, which he absolutely needs. But, you know. This is going to be interesting. Repairs. Sometimes I wonder if repairing is overpowered in general. When not, I mean, they're pretty goofy when you're just like using them in their actual role of this. Like, this is totally fine. I just don't like them like zooming around. Use it. Oh, I just think it's really annoying. It's not like a game design logic thing. I just think it's annoying. All right. Imp is going to be in. Map control is your downside, and this is where what you need to do as Antagonist is in this Castle Age pressure, you got to keep it up on the other side. You can't just let Combito have all of this area to himself. Like, the outposts I love. Right now, Antagonist is on his way up. Second castle coming in. Like I said, in this matchup, both civs are obviously, like, top 10 at minimum post-imp civ in general. In terms of, like, death ball creation. What's better? Koreans with their ranged units, rocket carts, and towers, or Portuguese with feitarias, organ guns, bombard cannons with arquebus? Militarily, I give the nod to Koreans, because I think that it becomes really tough to stop the rocket carts and organ guns if the Epsilon keeps can help snipe the enemy bombard cannons. Unit at a time. I feel like that would be really annoying to play against, or play with, rather. Yeah, I think I like Koreans a little bit more, but absolutely, with the way that it's worked out with Combito having the stronger overall eco, you also have the fact that, again, feitarias exist. Oh, conscription coming in here as well. I mean, the castle's obviously going to go down here. Antagonist's just going to have to scooch back, which is fine. He's gathering his opponent's stone over here. And towers are coming. This is exactly what I was talking about from Antagonist, though, right? You need an advantage in this game, right? In this case, it's map control, which is actually, I mean, think back to the Tulo game. In that game, Antagonist had the worst army and the worst economy. And was still able to win because he did such a beautiful job of leveraging his map control. Some for Buckin? Yeah, that's pretty funny. Longswordsman coming in. Triple bombard cannon production. Obviously, you really want to get Arquebus, as it's super good against enemy units. And just going to be going for some swordsmen here. You miss squires. One of the actual good design aspects of Portuguese is missing squires. Fire Lancers are being pretty annoying here. But yeah, I mean, right now, Antagonist needs to leverage the fact that his opponent is pretty darn stuck here. Or it's tough to be able to go for organs here when you also want to make trebuchets. You are on 3 castles, though, honestly, so you really should start to switch over into organ guns. It's still your best, late-game death ball unit. But you also have to be very careful about rocket carts there. And then, of course, that's where the bombard cannons come in with all that dynamic, and then the towers come in. I mean, it's a good matchup in the late game for sure. Tower's taking some heavy punishment. I mean, look at all the resources Antagonist has. He's got resources, he's got map control, but it's not going to last forever. 5 bombard cannons and 3 trebs versus 0 bombard cannons, although we do have 3 on the way. But, Combito's playing the smart. Trebs on the left, that's where the towers are. Trebs on the right, that's where the towers are. The bombard cannons are to help deal with the units. Also, if the towers are ungarrisoned, then you can just snipe them with bombard cannons. It's not that big of a deal. I kind of want Antagonist to win this game just because I think it would be interesting to see the final game on Coastal Arena. Siege Engineer's coming in for Combito, though. And he's starting to push this back. And my concern for Antagonist, he's got a lot of resources, but he's not developing a good army composition. Nice job sniping the bombard cannon there from Combito. Okay, hand cannons are on the way. Obviously going to be a very good unit for the Portuguese. Portuguese hand cannons are a little odd because it's like, you don't really see them all that often because you just see them... Oh, sorry, Korean hand cannons. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. Your opponent's going to make him change. My bad. Yeah, I mean, that's just a basic... You make the unit that counters your opponent's unit, especially when your unit is fully upgraded in that regard. Camp's going to clean up that Fire Lancer, but at least we're not seeing Antagonists force Fire Lancers into a situation where you don't want Fire Lancers. And remember, that was game number 1, was Antagonist going Fire Lancers when he shouldn't have gone Fire Lancers. For Japanese and Khmer. Well, yeah, because Japanese and Khmer don't get bombard cannons, but they get hand cannoneers, which is probably what you're thinking. Tatars as well, or another civ that have that dynamic. All right. All gunpowder for Antagonist. And Georgians, yeah, Georgians are another example. Now, as Combito, is when you start switching into the organ guns and bombard cannons, right? I think that's probably your best trick. I don't love the skirmishers here. I kind of get it, though, because you don't have the map control. There's Arquebus coming in. But you're on 140 bills. Like, I wouldn't even hate just starting Fader Rias either. 6 bombard cannons right now here for Antagonist, but it's going to be really tricky because Siege Engineers is in for both. And one guy gets Arquebus and the other doesn't. There are a bunch of civs that have bombard cannon but no hand cannon. Burmese are one, Malay are another one. Antagonist is too passive. Antagonist is all the map control. You don't want to push into the maw of your opponent. Well, Georgians have a hand cannon equivalent. All right, guys, here's Combito. He needs to make this push happen. Otherwise, he's pretty dead in the water because he'll have no resources. But this is looking mighty scary. The bombard cannons are here getting repaired. The champions are here. The skirmishers are also helping to snipe the enemy hand cannoneers. And this is exactly what Combito needed, guys. This push had to happen right now, and it had to work. Yeah, actually, the Raja civs. Except Khmer. That's interesting. But Rajas was a big DLC for bombard tower, bombard cannon creep. Oh, Ethiopians are another civ, yeah. All right, more towers are coming in, but is it going to be enough, guys? There's 3,000 stone right now for Antagonist. I would honestly just garrison the hand cannons, dude. Like, add the arrows to the towers. And, like, look at how methodical Combito's being here. Yeah, Khmer, but Khmer also have hand cannons, right? They used to just have all the gunpowder units. He-who moment? What? I mean, it was, he had to make the fight happen, and he made it happen. Yeah, nothing too crazy happening on the outside, nothing happening in the middle, but right now, guys, this score is looking really good for Combito. He's gathering extra gold here. He is doing what he needs to with Champ Skirm Bombard Cannon. It's a little bit janky, but you know what? He was trying to make a big push happen. I thought it'd be organ guns to just try and grind out his opponent, but this is another way you could go about it. You put yourself on more of a clock, but you could certainly make the argument that Antagonist was way too slow in switching into rocket carts. Because you still do need rocket carts and try and keep them behind the keeps with Upsong to make them more difficult to snipe by bombard cannons. Because remember, they have 10 range still. Just like Korean SOs used to have. So it is tough to snipe those guys. But yeah, now you have all the resources you need as Combito. His macro's been great, and he could be moving his way right into Platinum League here with a win. All those guys going down. Res Destroyed is going to be so heavily in favor of our red player. And there we go. Oh, gold. Yeah, my bad. Yes, it is Gold League. Still, very impressive from Combito. Unfortunately for Antagonist, just fell a little too short. He had the right idea, but I think just not quite quick enough with his unit transitions. And then, Combito broke contain at the exact moment he needed to. That was very, very well done. You can see not much stone collected, but so much more of everything else. And yeah, well done. Good series, though, for sure. Yeah, this is basically a final equivalent. So I have no problem at all with this being a best of 7. Because now there are no more sets for either of these players. Now, Antagonist is going to be in Silver next season. So it's not like he's eliminated there, but nothing... No gold for him. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. It's good to be back, and I'll be back tomorrow as well. So thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.